It might sound easy, but it wasn't.
It
wasn't.
Wait. At what point
did it sound
anything
easy?
you said? Where's the easy part?
It's just me and
Show
my
me.
cat.
Welcome to the Nugget. It's been really a long time coming for the show. We're really focused on talking to dynamic and amazing individuals that have accomplished great things in life and the nuggets that they have to share with us and how we can leverage those to accomplish our own goals and dreams. I'm your host, Joanes, with two syllables, that's joie and ness.
Hey, I'm Kara.
What's going on? I'm JP, your resident oxtail enthusiast.
And today we have the honor of welcoming to the show Obioma Richardson.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Glad to be here.
Happy to have you. Happy to have you. We've heard so many wonderful things about you and your accomplishments. For our audience, a little bit about Obioma. She is a 20-year IT professional, project analyst. She is the president of the New York board for The Gathering Spot, a deeply rooted community of entrepreneurs, creatives, and forward thinkers. She's also a single mother and CEO, so those things go together, single mother and CEO, founder of Watch Her Win New York, an organization that empowers and inspires women in the community as a whole. Welcome again, Obioma,
Thank you.
to the Nugget. So we are excited to have you. So tell us your name, Obioma.
Yes.
That's not an everyday name.
It's not.
Okay, so does it mean anything? How do you,
Yes.
tell us a little bit about your
my name is Nigerian. It is from the Igbo tribe, and it means good-hearted.
Good-hearted.
Yes.
All right.
I see that.
Yeah,
It
that says it all.
means
I feel
good-hearted.
that already.
My mom and dad, they didn't want me to have just a typical name. My mom's from Puerto Rico. Her nurse was Nigerian. Midwife was Nigerian, and she asked her, she said, I need a name that my parents can pronounce. And she said the first thing that came out the nurse's mouth was Obioma, and it just rolled off everyone's tongue, and it stuck, and here I am.
They say what's in a name. That's everything.
Good-hearted. That's awesome. For those people that may not be aware, like, what is it that you do as an IT professional?
Being an IT professional is just many variations. What I currently do is I'm a project analyst, SAP solutions. So I just, configure items that need to go into the SAP system.
Can you tell us what those acronyms are? So IT, is that information technology? Did I get that
Yeah,
right?
so IT
Okay.
is information technology.
Okay.
SAP is a financial system that it can be used for different areas. It could be used as a point of sale. It could be used as an ordering system. It depends on what industry you may be in.
Like a foundational sort of.
It's a foundational,
Okay.
right? So it's standard. Any company that will use it, they will build to that company.
So that makes sense.
increased my knowledge. Like,
Yeah, I'm like, I made some brain wrinkles just now. I'm excited.
So we're not going to ask you again, what is SAP?
right.
It didn't start there.
Yeah.
It didn't start there. I wanted to be a lawyer.
Okay, so tell us
Oh.
about that.
Yeah, my dream was definitely to be a lawyer from day one. I grew up in New York City housing, and I saw a lot of good, bad, and ugly. I said I wanted to be a lawyer because I'm going to put the bad people away, but I'm going to fight for the people that need to be fought for. But that didn't happen. Life happens. I did go to John Jay. That started my college tenure at John Jay. But then, I got pregnant at 20, and I had a baby girl. Just life shifted, and, I started to figure things out and like, oh, how am I going to do this? Just went into just different areas. I worked in retail. I worked as a temp, and then I got into Thompson Financial. I started to become a research analyst.
As a temp?
as a temp. I didn't know what. I was like, what am I doing? But whatever, I needed to make money to, I was a mom. That's where I first learned how to use the Bloomberg terminal, which is so weird, right? Because I never thought that I would be working.
I saw
there.
that.
Being a research analyst and being in the financial industry gave me like some different nuggets. And I
see
said,
what you
okay.
did there.
I said, okay, this could be different. 9/11 happened. I got laid off, out of work, unemployed. My daughter was in Catholic school at the time. And I was like, well, hey, I'm going to make it happen. I'd take her to school. I'd go to the gym. Oh, man, those were some good days. I was looking really good. I had to go to the gym. And then I met another parent. She used to always, rush. And then this one day, she forgot to pay for the trip. The teacher was like, today's the last day. You need $5. I literally had, I promise you, I had $5 on me. This is my last $5 because my unemployment was not coming until Wednesday. And I had my $5 in my Metro card because I would go back and forth to get my baby. And I was like, hey, I have $5. Do you want to pay for the trip? And she was like, oh my God, yes, thank you. I'll give it back to you. I hadn't seen her in 2 weeks, but it didn't bother me, right? I was like, the baby wants to go on a trip. When we connected again, she was like, here's your $5. We walked to the train station together. She said, tell me again, you were looking for a job, and I gave her my whole spiel. I gave her my whole spiel. I was like, yeah. She's like, okay. I worked for Planned Parenthood of New York City. She was the HR director. And she's like, I'm going to send your resume in. She said, it may not be what you were doing, but, I was like, I don't care. I need a job. So I got into Planned Parenthood. They didn't want to hire me because I was too overqualified, but I pleaded. I was like, I have a 5-year-old daughter in Catholic school. I need this job. I got the job. So I was making appointments.
Yeah.
Learned a lot about the female body and about being a woman there. So Planned Parenthood has a special place in my heart. 4 months, I got a promotion, administrative assistant. But with that promotion came, you have to manage the telecom system. I'm like, what? I don't know. I'm not doing that.
Are you enjoying the conversation? Please like and subscribe to our channel. Be sure to hit the bell for notifications and be the first to know when new episodes drop. Do you have any nuggets of wisdom to share? We'd love to hear from you on the nuggets you've learned. Please comment below.
But then I did it, and I was the telecom administrator. Now, here's what that is.
Right. How did you even learn
That is an entire switch where you are programming the internal telecom system to how someone's phone rings, forwards, have voicemails. And that is how my IT career started.
That is very techy.
Wow.
Because it's not just plug and play. So when we get our house phones, there's someone on that back end saying, okay, this person has a new line. This is how we have to program it. These are the features they want. It's all programming.
And you were just thrown into the fire.
I was just thrown into the fire.
Yeah.
But then I fell in love with it because it was a challenge. There were no women. I was 23. And I was feisty. And the techs were rude and mean. I was like, I grew up in projects. I could do this.
Let them know.
I got you.
She's from the Bronx.
I'm from the Bronx, and I can do this. Just knowing that here I am, this black Latino woman from the Bronx, and I'm in here. And then I started to go into different buildings, and I would see the telecom wires, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know what that is. And then I just started to grow. I just started to grow in my fields. And I'm here
But
now.
during this time, so you have a child,
I have a deal.
right?
Yep.
So now there's a moment when you discover this new field
Yes.
that you're falling in love with.
Yes.
Seems like your plate is already full,
Yeah.
right? So
Right.
how do you then put something, what was the motivating factor to put something else on your plate? Because I'm like,
Yeah.
for me, school was enough.
That came later down the line.
Okay.
So I went into a different company in telecom working for a larger, over 20,000 users.
Okay.
But I saw where there was a ceiling.
A glass ceiling.
And I said, I was making I'm very transparent because I think that Black women need to be transparent about their salaries. So at the time, I was making like 51,000 and whatever. And inflation, things happen. My daughter's growing. Again, yes, I'm a single mom, no child support. And I'm like, I have to make more money, but I can't make more money just wishing and hoping. I didn't want to go to school physically, and it was January 2008. My godmother had passed away. I was thinking really hard, like, what am I gonna do? Like, what am I gonna do? And it just came to me, like, go back to school. And I don't remember how I found this school, but I looked up. It was Ashford University, completely online. I was scared to death because I was like, man, if this is like not accredited, if this is a scam, But I did it. I started to go back to school for my bachelor's degree in 2009. My daughter was in middle school. She was like 7th, 8th grade. And I was like, okay, I'm comfortable enough because she's a little older. Like, I don't have to leave her, and I don't have to leave her with anyone. And I could just go to work and come home and do my homework and be in class. And that's how I did that.
And you knew what you wanted to study at that point.
At that point, I was like, I'm just going to study business. I'm going to understand how organizations run, because there was a lot of obstacles in my career. And what I saw was like a lot of politics and just not understanding the business aspect of how companies run. And I think that, especially as people of color, we can take a lot of things personal sometimes when we are not understanding the business aspect of something.
And that was an interesting year to do that because 2008,
The stock market.
the financial crash.
Right.
That was right before it really hit that summer.
I was going to say, I'm just so moved by everything you shared, and just back to what you were saying about how you gave that parent your last $5. Like, that's when, if it's another example of your name and what it means, like you having a good heart, found you in these spaces where she was able to say, like, hey, let me bring you in here. And that really struck me. I would just imagine that. I keep hearing you say, your daughter was seeing, and I just imagine how you were making these decisions for and with your daughter.
Yeah.
Right? And that's really standing out to me. You mention her every other sentence, and it's wonderful.
Oh.
I can assume, but I don't want to assume, but it sounds like your daughter has a huge influence on you.
She does.
I
didn't want to do this.
Be yourself. Be yourself.
I don't realize it sometimes, but from the moment that I brought her into this world, because I was like, I did not want any kids. I was like, what? I'm going to be a rich lawyer with a rich husband, traveling the world. I want no children. But I said, okay, this is my life. And so what I won't do is be a statistic. A sidebar, I went to the public assistance office, and they said, oh, your mother and father have to take care of you. And I was like,
Oh, wow.
what?
Look at that.
I said, I will never come back into this office again. And I never stepped foot back into that office again. And I needed to show her, like, we as Black women, we can carry the world on our shoulders, but I had and I have a responsibility to say, this is what we can do no matter how hard it gets, and we can do it.
Right.
So that is why, like, I literally do mention her in every other sentence.
It's beautiful.
Nah, we
and
love that.
I'm
She
imagining.
becomes a famous sports agent, I want a stipend.
I know, that's right. I'm imagining you doing your schoolwork, your coursework, coming home from work, and her doing her homework by your side.
Yeah, it was really like that.
Right.
Like, I'd have my computer, she'd be on the phone doing her homework. It was, I know, I might be a little too transparent.
No,
but
I mean,
please, bring it
She
out.
was a
Yeah.
breastfed baby, so she's very attached.
Gotcha.
So it was just another form of this bonding, because she'd be doing it, and her homework, and I'd be doing my homework and writing my papers. And listen, I had to cook dinner. I had to do it all. Like, I mean, but before I even started school, I was working like 3 jobs. I was working my full-time job and 2 part-time jobs. My siblings would help me. My cousins would help me. And she'd be like, can you stop working so much? I just want to see my mom. And then, it got to the place where I was like, okay, I can work this one job and then go to school. And if it wasn't online, I couldn't have done it.
Do you have an audio podcast? Are you looking to grow your audience by expanding into video? Partner with Prosper Digital TV, a virtual and full-service video production company with a dedicated team ready to expand your podcast into video. Visit www.prosperdigital.tv or call 718-622-0062 to get started today.
How old was she at the time?
So when I went back to school, she was 10.
Okay.
And those are those years.
The formative
where-
years, yeah.
So formative. And yeah, every year is formative, but 10 and through high school, it's just like, Lord have mercy. Please help me. But I was there, and I was able to, if they called me at the school, I was able to go to the school and look at her like, if they call me one more time. But I was able to be there.
So when you're a single mom and you're still pushing through, where did that come from in the midst of the really serious challenges?
I respect and cherish my ancestors. And I grew up with my grandparents too. And in my life, I used to talk to them. I used to just sit down and talk to my grandparents. And I understood their story. Like my grandfather from my mother's dad came from Puerto Rico. He said he had nothing. He said he had one pair of shoes when he came here, and he walked, and by the time he got to Harlem, the rubber was burnt out. My father's parents, my grandmother came over from Jamaica when she was 8. My grandfather, he was in World War II. Wow. I understand what they went through as immigrants, because coming from Puerto Rico, you were an immigrant at that time. Then, okay, seeing the environment I was in, I was like, God, this is not my life. I'm not going to be forever growing up in New York City Housing Authority. I'm not going to build a legacy in New York City Housing Authority. I know that whatever my grandparents went through and their parents went through to get us here, I have to do better. I can't be responsible for everybody else, but it wasn't the environment that I wanted for myself or my daughter. I wanted more. I wanted more because I know that the people that came before me, they wanted more for me. And I understand systematically we get broken down, systematically we get torn apart, and we get separated, and I could not let that happen to me. And that is really, to this day, what keeps me going. Even when I'm not pleased with what's going on in politics, I'm like, I can't say that I won't go vote. My grandfather came from the South, and my grandmother, and they could not. And then they had the right to do it. So they fought for that right to do it. So that is a disrespect to them for me to say, I won't do it. All of that kept me going. And then you bring this whole human being into this world, and you look at that person and say, everything that these people did for me, I got to do for her. And I got to push harder. By no means was I a perfect mom, right? I had to learn. I was freaking 20 years old, right? And that's what did it for me. That's what does it for me. And I was not trying to be victim. Like, I was not trying to be a victim of my own environment. I was not trying to be complacent and let the world say, oh, because you are from the Bronx and because you live in the projects and because you had a baby early, you ain't going to be nothing. That wasn't going to be my story.
That's a major point. I mean, knowing your story and then having that strength to carry it on through your child, that allowed you to be present for her. But who was present for you in the meantime, right? Because you didn't do this alone.
No.
So if you had support, what exactly did that support look like? What does support look like?
My mom is dope. My stepdad, he's no longer with us. You know, my aunts, my godmother. My godmother was a fierce woman. And she, was like in the courts So that she's one of the reasons I wanted to be a lawyer. She was court officer, then she was a clerk, and I used to just go sit in the courtroom with her, like when I would go spend the weekends, and I would just go sit in the courtroom and watch the cases. So I look at the negative and the positives in my life, and I'm like, okay, that's not what I want, but then the positives, okay, let me see how I can massage that and make it better. So the support was there. Everybody was pissed at me. Oh, I'm sorry. Can I take this?
No, go ahead.
You're fine.
Because I was wondering that too. Like,
everybody was pissed at me when I got pregnant. Like, oh my goodness. My godmother was mad. My aunt was like, how could you do this? I'm like, oh my God, am I causing the next plague?
Oh my goodness.
No, well, but do you understand where that
I
comes from?
understand
Yeah.
where it comes from.
Because that.
I understand. My mom couldn't even look at me. But my stepdad.
How exactly did they show up?
I want to emphasize on a man being his stepfather, right? Because I don't think that stepfathers get a lot of accolades. It's always kind of a bad situation. Richard Lee Sisko Jr., one of the best men that could have impacted me. So through high school, right? Because if I got into trouble, like I can go to him. I was on the yearbook committee, and I was like, oh, Dad, I need a drawing. And he drew the teddy bear for our yearbook. I was in piano, so he was a musician, so we connected. And my piano teacher was like, oh, my God, I love you. You're the best piano teacher. That's all, from my stepdad. And then when I got pregnant, he just sat down and looked me in my eyes, and he said, this is not the end for you. And that right there, because you were asking me, how?
Yeah.
That right there meant everything in the world, because I promise you, I wanted to be a lawyer, and I was in John Jay, and then I got pregnant. I thought it was the end for me. I was like, here I am, right? Don't laugh, but like, okay, just another girl in the IRT, like, totally not that situation, people. But, in my head, it's like,
of course.
In the projects, you get young, you have a young baby, get pregnant at a young age, and then you're stuck. And when my mother couldn't look at me, I had my stepdad and my dad, right? Because I'm not going to say my stepdad anymore, but my dad, and he supported me. He was there. I had my best friends. Right? They were like, it's okay. We got you. And that's really how I got, because I absolutely couldn't do this by myself. And I was very sick when I was pregnant. The turning point for my mom is when I ended up in the hospital and she thought she was going to lose me.
Are you enjoying the conversation? Please like and subscribe to our channel. Be sure to hit the bell for notifications and be the first to know when new episodes drop. Do you have any nuggets of wisdom to share? We'd love to hear from you on the nuggets you've learned. Please comment below.
Do you have an audio podcast? Are you looking to grow your audience by expanding into video? Partner with Prosper Digital TV, a virtual and full-service video production company with a dedicated team ready to expand your podcast into video. Visit www.prosperdigital.tv or call 718-622-0062 to get started today.
It's like, all right, it's not the end of the world. She'll be fine. Because my family had me on a pedestal.
How many siblings do you have? Others?
I have 2 brothers. I have a sister. And then some from my stepdad.
Where do you fall in line? Middle?
I'm the
First?
oldest.
Oh, got it.
The oldest.
What some people call the test baby.
I am the oldest.
Right?
Yeah, I'm the oldest. So it was a lot of pressure.
I was about to
It was a lot
say,
of
I
pressure.
feel that
Because then
pressure.
I'm
Yes.
like, all right, Obi's here, and then she's pregnant. What do you mean she's pregnant? Like, it was like, I was like.
What it sounds like to me is that there's so much power in words. Because right at the time when you got pregnant, it seemed like, was there like a bout with depression at all? Because it seems like there was, it seems like obviously being on a pedestal, right? And feeling like you've let so many people down.
Yep.
But then having a counter individual, right? With just different words, and it seemed like there was something there that just stopped the negative self-talk. And then what I'm hearing is like, wow, I don't know if the women that I in my family, right? I'm like, wow, I don't know, like if that would that have made a difference if at the moment of impact,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
someone came and told them like, hey, this is not it for you. What's interesting is that you said your stepfather, you actually looked at him as a man, because it looks like it was a man disappointing you, a man that let you down, but another man that came, and like the women around you were like, yo, looking at what's going on, like how do you do that? Like we're looking up to you, like now what do we do?
Yeah.
But then another man comes and says,
And balances that out.
balance that, the other negative that you're experiencing.
Yeah.
Did you actually really connect with the power of influence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had strong male. Both of my grandfathers were amazing. So I've had the positive and strong male role models and know what it was to love and to take care of your families. I've had that in my life. So me meeting someone that disappointed me, my biological father disappointed me. There was something in me that said, well, I can't use those bad experiences against every man that I meet, right? Because I have the positive experiences. So my dad, Richard Lee Cisco Jr., he came and he was that light and that force. Because even me being a young mom at the time and having my daughter's father was not there as he should have been, it still didn't make me go on this like rant to hate men. Because I had my dad, I had my grandparents, my grandfathers, so I had that. And in different areas of my life, there's always these positive men that come into my life and stay around and support and root me on. And then for every man that is negative in my life, that positive light kind of just dims everything else. So, yeah, it's a powerful force.
And now we can see why the word community really resonates with
Yes.
you, right? I think you were going to say.
Yes. Can I ask you about that? So you mentioned how your godmother and your cousins and your friends like really stepped in and just rallied behind you and surrounded you with a ton of love and support. And is that connected to what you've initiated and what you've built in terms of networking with Watch Her Win and the Gathering Spot? Like, is there a connection there for you?
Absolutely. Watch Her Win is me connecting the community to opportunities. Where I come from, I didn't see so much opportunities for everyone else. There was always that one anomaly person that got the chance. And it kind of seemed like I was that person, right? I was an exchange student in high school. I went to Italy, and like the neighborhood would be like, oh, waiting for me to come back. Like, oh, she went to Italy. And so it was like, I was that person. But my parents, they opened their doors to the community. So me creating Watch Her Win is like, I can't, just because I'm here, I can't turn my back on people. The world turns their back on us.
Right.
So I can do but so much. I can connect you and then give you the tools and give you the content and give you the knowledge. And then I need you to go a step further and then push yourself. I can do that. So yes, it's Watch Her Win because it's my story. It's about how I won, and that's where that name comes from, and how I'm winning, right? Because I'm still alive. It's how I'm winning, but just the community of people, and like the men love it just as much as the women. They're like, Watch Her Win, Obi, Watch Her Win, because it's about community. Because if you don't have women, I don't care what ethnicity or race you're in. The women give birth. We give birth to what we have now. So we have to empower the woman. We have to support the woman so they can breed better and breathe life into people and breathe good life and positive into people.
Ooh, I think that's probably one of the elements of you that inspires me the most, right? And we touched on this earlier, how I think the default for people of color, the default for women is to feel a sense of competition and have that crabs in a barrel mentality. And that's like the first approach when you see someone who's like you, even though they might be able to be in your network.
Yeah.
And so I think that's even more important that you have a space where folks can see that we're doing this together and we can see each other as resources. And that's a different mindset that, you know, as time changes, people are starting to own. Right. So I'm really, really excited about that. I applaud you for building that.
Thank you.
And it sounds like that story is going to be carried on through your daughter because she's the next chapter, correct?
She's definitely a special young lady. Shout out to Kiara.
All right, Kiara. What's she up to now?
Yeah.
Oh, man, my baby is a college graduate. She
Wow.
graduated from Clark Atlanta University.
Wow.
So I am a proud HBCU mom.
Wow.
Okay.
She's
Okay.
currently in
ATL shouting. You already know.
She's currently in grad school in Brooklyn, LIU campus. You know, she wants to be a sports entertainment manager.
Okay.
And she is about to turn 25 and figuring out life. But she's a good heart and she's a good soul.
Are you enjoying the conversation? Please like and subscribe to our channel. Be sure to hit the bell for notifications and be the first to know when new episodes drop. Do you have any nuggets of wisdom to share? We'd love to hear from you on the nuggets you've learned. Please comment below.
Take me back to when you saw your daughter graduating and you. I'm not trying to get you emotional.
About to give her 12 tissues.
Because I see the generational pivots.
Yeah.
Right? Because again, your story it wasn't handed to you. You had to fight for it.
Yeah.
Because you had to make that choice. So when you're standing there, looking at your daughter, at that moment, you're seeing the past meet the present and the present looking at the future. Tell me about that.
It's so funny. So, graduating with my MBA, I needed her to see me walk across the stage.
Mm-hmm.
So she saw me walk across the stage 2014.
Congrats again. We're excited for you.
Last year, 2021. I was standing there and watching her walk across, a stage. And I have to admit, I said, I did that shit. I did it.
That's right.
I did it.
That's the killing the bee moment. You got to say it, right? It's like,
I was like,
own
oh. But it was like, look at her. She's
Watching her win.
she's
right?
she's winning, and it's like she's not my baby anymore. Like
Right.
it's weird, right? It's like she walked through this portal, and like this woman came out with that hat and that degree. Like this is all the things I'm seeing in my head. I never expressed it before. Never. This is the first time I'm actually expressing the vision and how it felt to me. And I'm like, she did it. You know what? She has her own story. She has her own story. She has her own obstacles that she went through. You know, her story is not my story. But when I looked at how she defeated the challenges that she was going through and still walked through, I was like, yeah, that's what we're doing here.
Right.
She gets on my nerves. I want to jack her up sometimes. But there's just moments I just stare at her and be like, that was this little person that they laid on my chest. And oh my God. Oh my God.
Something was really real at that
It's
time,
just,
right?
Wow. Like when I dropped her off to college, I don't know how many people could understand this, but I literally felt the umbilical cord cut at that moment. And cried. Like, oh. But then walking across the stage, watching her, I said, she's a woman now. And she's going to be making decisions. And now I'm her mom, right? But now I'm her, like, her concierge, right? I'm like, you come for me for advice and suggestions because I can't tell you what to do.
Right.
I can't put you on timeout. I can't pluck you, right? But I can be your advisor. I can be your advisor. And if you don't want my advisement, it's fine. But I'm always going to be here for that. I've been meeting her where she's at every stage. I cannot raise her the way my mother raised me. It was a different time. My mother was raised different, right? And she did her best. But what I realized in this stage in my life, and as being a parent, is meeting my child with that. Because the one thing I don't ever want to lose is a relationship with my only daughter. Because that is the one thing that would break me. I have gone through some ish. I have been through some relationship stuff. I'm going through relationship stuff now.
That's on Patreon, y'all.
Okay? And I can't wait to see her walk across the stage getting her master's degree. It's just like the legacy just constantly flowing. Flowing.
Mother-daughter relationships are so complex.
Yes.
And to hear you talk about yours, it's just a feel-good feeling, to know how real it is. I appreciate you sharing the authentic experiences you've had with your own mom and then as a mom.
Yeah.
Also celebrating how you found yourself in new spaces that might have seemed scary, and then you said, you know what, let me just go ahead and do this, right? Like even just I love how you found yourself in IT in the first place. And you were like, what is that? And then you just kind of, so I wanted to celebrate that about you. And I think that's also something people can learn from.
One thing I would say, if someone right now is facing a very difficult time in their life, where they feel like they've let themselves down, or what would you tell them?
Yeah, so seriously, do not hold it in. There is someone in your tribe, as I like to say, that you can go to. There is someone that you can trust, and give yourself grace. Everything that I've discussed today, I still have a problem giving myself grace. I will still be hard on myself, but give yourself the grace because it allows you to free up some of the things, but don't hold it in. Find somebody to go to. Don't hold it in.
I want more time with you. I feel like we have so much more to hear.
Where you going?
You got to come back.
I will come back. Maybe I'll have you all as guests for Watch Her Win.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That'd be so fun.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I would love it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And you just left that last nugget about grace, which really sums up your story about what you had to do for yourself.
Yeah.
Because what I've heard is just how everything else, how you leverage all these different things, community vision, knowing your story, but through that, feeling like faced with that obstacle, the constant ability to refresh through grace. And I think that just really hits home. It doesn't end there.
It has been such a treat having you on this episode of The Nugget. And before you go, you've already shared so much, but is there some nugget you'd like to leave on the table for our listeners?
Be genuine. Be kind. That is the nugget that I'm going to leave.
Be genuine. Be kind.
Yes.
I like that.
Short and sweet.
And before we let you go,
Yes.
please tell all of our viewers, our audience, where they can find you and your latest announcement, something that you have going on. This is your chance to plug.
Okay.
Let them watch you win. Badoots.
Hi. So
All right.
you can find me at Watch Her Win New York. New York spelled out. .org. I am on Instagram at Watch Her Win.
Well, thank you, Obioma. It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you for sharing your story, just what it's taken for you to accomplish, to be a Black female IT professional. That's just the beginning of and everything else, CEO of Watch Her Win and everything else that you do. It's been an honor being inspired by you, and that's why we do this show, is to really be inspired ourselves and get these nuggets so that we go back and say, what you been doing?
Do you have an audio podcast? Are you looking to grow your audience by expanding into video? Partner with Prosper Digital TV, a virtual and full-service video production company with a dedicated team ready to expand your podcast into video. Visit www.prosperdigital.tv or call 718-622-0062 to get started today.
Okay, so I have to add one more question. So the way I see your stories, just when you thought she was there's something else. Just when we thought you'd get your bachelor's, she's chill out. Okay, no, I'll get my master's. Just when you thought she was done there, okay, well, now I'm gonna build my own company. Just when you thought, right? Tell me 5 years from now, where do you see yourself? What is that? Where do you see yourself?
Riding a horse on the beach in Ghana.
And swimming.
Very colorful, yeah.
In 5 years, if it's my last career goal, is to be a CIO of a company, whether it's big or small, and run an entire IT operation. So they can, number one, see a Black woman as a CIO. Number two, give that IT operational portion the empathy that it needs, because what we bring to the table is empathy and understanding and communication. All of those things that are used against us as a woman, I bring them to the table, and then I succeed. So I would love to do that. And also, I will have my consultant firm would be really big, where I am definitely getting business for Black people and brown people. We're gonna do it. Anything that someone needs, you're gonna come through OBR consultants and be like, well, let me go to her because I know she's the plug and she's gonna connect me with the right people. Those are the two things that I really want in the next 5 years. And then after I do that, the 6th year, I'll be in Ghana on a horse.
Gotcha. Then you chill, quasi chill, because I don't see you chilling. But cool. It was so good to have you.
Nice.
Like Kara said, we could definitely go on longer because I have jumping into different things. But thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
We appreciate you. Thank you for being our first guest on the Nugget. So that's awesome.
That's exciting.
We really appreciate you. And yes, please do. Would love to have you back for future episodes.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Manifest,
Thank you.
manifest. Yeah.